The United Nations High Commission on Refugee has stated that every year a great number of persons migrate from their home countries to other countries in search of protection and a better life. According to Amnesty International, the international community, especially wealthy nations, are failing to provide the necessary protection for persons who have fled their homes. According to the United Nations, every minute, people leave their countries behind to escape war, persecution, or terror. These persons who find themselves displaced all over different countries include refugees and asylum seekers. Refugees and asylum seekers are persons who fled their home and country on a fear of persecution because of their race, religion, nationality, social group, or political opinion. Internally displaced persons. Internally displaced persons, or IDPs, are people who have not yet crossed any international border but have been forced to move to a different region other than the one they call home within their own country. Stateless persons. Stateless persons do not have a recognized nationality and do not belong to any country. Statelessness situations are usually caused by discrimination against certain groups. The lack of identification can exclude them from access to important government services, including healthcare, education, and employment. Returnees. Returnees are former refugees who return to their own countries or regions of origin after some time in exile. This category usually requires support to enable them reintegrate into their home country. Refugees genuinely go through a great level of inhumane and degrading treatment, not to mention extrajudicial killings due to reasons of race, political opinion and affiliations, religious sentiments, ethnicity, national origins, etc. These people are persecuted and treated as second-class citizens and have no other choice but to seek refuge from other home countries. It is inhumane to turn a blind eye to the plight of these refugees. It is also unconscionable as well to see them as nuisance and send them back to their homes. It is recorded that half of the world's refugees are children, and poor countries host a third of refugees globally. This is rather not encouraging, taking into account the reasons for fleeing. It is important to remember that these people contribute a lot to economies where they find themselves if properly absorbed into the host countries. In the spirit of international human rights, we must remember that refugees are humans and must be given a treatment befitting to humans. So, whether they are internally displaced persons in Nigeria, refugees in Turkey, or asylum seekers in the United States, these persons must never be subjected to inhumane treatment. Just like citizens of countries like the United States, England, Canada, or Nigeria, refugees possess the same human rights as those citizens. The rights and welfare of refugees are guaranteed under the 1951 Refugee Convention and its 1967 Protocol. Under these instruments, the rights of refugees include the right not to be expelled except under certain strictly defined conditions, the right not to be punished for illegal entry into the territory of a contracting state, the right to work, the right to housing, the right to education, the right to freedom of religion, the right to access the courts, the right to freedom of movement within the territory. These rights also come with obligations towards the host country. Refugees have a duty to pay tax, maintain law and order, report crimes, etc. As we observe today, let us remember that refugees are humans like us who only found themselves in unfortunate situations. Let us join hands and support the international community to make the world a better place for refugees and indeed all of mankind.